Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking on a massive, literally mind-bending mystery. We are going to explore a highly abstract theory of reality, specifically its super tautological foundations, and try to make sense of the whole shebang together. If you've ever found yourself wondering how the universe fundamentally justifies its own existence, well, let's figure it out. Okay, let's dive right into this, because this is essentially the ultimate detective story. We're looking at the absolute greatest mystery of the universe. What actually holds reality together? Is it just physical matter? Is it the mind? Is it something else entirely? To solve a mystery this huge, we have to look at the evidence, examine the suspects, and really figure out what the true foundation of everything around us actually is. Section 1. The Suspects. Past Philosophers. So our investigation kicks off way back in the 1640s. Descartes posited that reality is mental, but he kind of confused things right out of the gate by separating mind and matter into this strict dualism. Fast forward to the 1710s, and Berkeley argues reality is perceptual, basically an intersection of the two. Then, by the 1730s, Hume tried to just do away with causation altogether, calling it a mere cognitive artifact. And finally, in the 1780s, Kant tried to resolve all this by separating what we perceive from absolute things in themselves. But as you're going to see, every single one of these heavyweights hit a massive dead end, trying to bridge that gap between mind and matter. The reason they hit that dead end is perfectly captured by this brilliant metaphor from our source text. You see, a lot of philosophers try to figure out what objective reality looks like by mentally subtracting our perception from it. But doing that, it's a bit like trying to show that a sponge is not inherently wet while immersing it in water. It is completely impossible to subtract cognition from reality while we're actively acting as cognitive beings. I mean, you can't use your mind to imagine a universe without mind. It just doesn't work. Which brings us to Kant's ultimate dead end, a really deep chasm. He essentially said there's phenomenal reality, the stuff we actually perceive, and then noumena, which are the unknowable absolute objects. But this chasm is so unbelievably wide that it completely blocks our mind from ever understanding those absolute objects. It basically makes them irrelevant. This means if we actually want to solve the case of reality, we literally have to look past traditional metaphysics to find the real answer. Section 2. The missing glue. Science's big problem. So if the philosophers couldn't crack the case, who stepped in next? Science. But here's a highly surprising, honestly kind of funny critique from the source material. The adhesion between explanandum and explanation might as well be provided by rubber cement. What does that even mean? Well, it means a scientist observes something, writes down a math equation, and just glues the two together. Now, it often works like a charm, but why does it work? Traditional science just blindly glues observations to math without explicitly justifying the adhesive it's using. This lack of justification is formally known as the problem of induction. Think about it. Empirical science is fundamentally circular. To prove that nature acts uniformly, science has to run experiments that completely assume nature acts uniformly. It assumes the exact thing it's trying to establish. While empirical science is absolutely fantastic for making specific observations, this core circularity means it's fundamentally flawed when it comes to building a truly global general theory of reality. So this leaves us with a massive, glaring question. If science uses the epistemological equivalent of magic glue to attach its theories to reality, what is the real recipe for that glue? If we can't rely on observation alone, what unbreakable tool can we use to crack this case? Well, the answer lies in pure, undeniable logic. Section 3. The clue? The power of tautologies. We have to shift paradigms right now. We're moving away from physical observations and stepping right into pure logic. A tautology is a logical expression that is universally true, regardless of the variables you plug in. The absolute classic example is X or not X. Something either exists or it doesn't. You don't need to run a giant physical experiment to prove this. It's true by definition. It's the only concept we have that doesn't require some external assumption or that magic glue to work. It's just inherently true. And a true tautology gives us exactly what we need for a bold-proof theory of reality, the 3 C's. First, closure. It's perfectly self-referential and self-contained. Second, comprehensiveness. It absolutely doesn't exclude any truth. And third, consistency. It is completely free from irresolvable paradoxes. These 3 C's are the absolute necessary ingredients for a framework that simply cannot be broken. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter to you and me? Why care about tautologies? Because without this fundamental two-valued logic distinguishing true from false or real from unreal would be completely impossible. If we eliminate this logical foundation, our entire ability to perceive, think, or understand anything about the universe instantly collapses. Reality itself literally relies on this logical structure to exist. Section 4. The solution. Building a super tautology. Knowing we need pure logic, we can actually reverse engineer the universe. Traditional science starts with axioms, builds hypotheses upward, and relies on empirical observation. But reality theory? It does the exact opposite. It works backwards. It strips away all those assumptions, uses pure rational deduction, and peels away constraints until only the absolute, undeniable core truth remains. When you strip away all those assumptions, you're left with what's called a super tautology. It's a theory of reality constructed purely rationally so that it inherently possesses our three C's: closure, comprehensiveness, and consistency. This right here is the ultimate recipe for the glue. It's a theory that doesn't need to be proven by looking through a giant telescope. It actually proves itself simply by existing. Section 5. The three principles of reality. So how do we actually connect this super abstract idea to the physical universe we walk around in every day? We need the three M's of reality theory. Mind equals reality, the metaphysical autology principle, and the multiplex unity principle. And what's amazing is how these three perfectly align with those three C's we discussed earlier to make the whole theory absolutely ironclad. Let's break them down. First up is M equals R, or mind equals reality. This principle ensures our first C, comprehensiveness. By tautologically stating that mind and reality are the exact same thing, it completely dissolves that persistent, annoying distinction between the theory and the universe itself. You know, the gap that tripped up all those past philosophers. It ensures that absolutely nothing we can cognitively or perceptually recognize is excluded from this framework. Next is MAP, the metaphysical ontology principle. This provides our second C, closure. MAP tautologically renders the syntax of the universe perfectly closed and self-contained. It basically ensures that the universe doesn't require some outside force or a magical external logician to define it. The universe defines itself. And our final piece is MU, the multiplex unity principle. MU secures our final C, consistency. It ensures that the universe remains incredibly coherent across all its different parts. It acts as the absolute ultimate safeguard against paradoxes, allowing reality to be multiple things at once while still maintaining a singular, perfectly consistent underlying unity. Which brings us right to the grand solution of our mystery. The ultimate takeaway is this: reality has a built-in self-processing capability. Nature doesn't need a scientist to apply the rules of logic. The universe uses pure, super tautological logic to construct, recognize, and sustain itself. It's a self-reifying system that justifies its very own existence without needing any external magic glue at all. I want to leave you with a final, totally mind-bending thought to wrap up this explainer. If this theory actually holds true, if mind literally equals reality at a fundamental structural level, then is your own mind, at this exact moment, simply the universe utilizing pure logic to recognize itself? Seriously, think about that for a second. The very act of you sitting here and understanding this theory might just be the universe proving its own existence. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.